Starting out tonight in downtown Portland at the Keller Auditorium. It's the crown jewel of playhouses here. About 400,000 people a year come to see shows inside. But the building is old, more than 100 years old, and it's not reinforced. So if there's a really big earthquake, odds are pretty good it's going to fall down. Obviously, that's a problem. It's owned by the city, it's run by Metro, but there seems to be consensus that something needs to be done. So there's talk of maybe rebuilding it, or maybe building something like this, but somewhere else. There's two options for that. So, what to do? My friends, that has become a very sticky question. The Keller Auditorium is located at Southwest 3rd and Clay in downtown Portland, surrounded by businesses and parking garages. It's home to the Oregon Ballet, the Portland Opera, and the big national Broadway shows that come to town. It seats 3,000 people, and the Keller is the workhorse of the stages in Portland. It makes 50% of all the revenue that flows through Portland's 5 performing arts centers. Over the last 3 years, the city has looked at options for what to do next with it. It comes down to these 3. Tear down much of the Keller and rebuild where it stands, or leave the Keller alone and build something new on property set aside at Portland State University or across the river on the east side where the Lloyd Center Mall now stands. Each possibility has supporters and detractors, and none of the options will be cheap. At a recent Portland City Council meeting, Metro representatives brought out numbers from an outside consultant estimating how much money would be lost from shutting down the Keller for 2 years as part of its rebuild. It found an economic impact of nearly $100 million in lost output. That's 336 jobs lost, 42 million lost in labor income, and 5 million in local and state taxes. Robin Williams is the executive director of P5. That's an organization within the Metro government that runs the 5 biggest event venues for live shows. She argued the Keller cannot be renovated without closing.
This slide just reflects some of the extensive losses of a 24-month closure. The loss of work would be devastating to our event staff who rely on work at the Keller for their livelihood. As the pandemic proved, bringing back staff after a closure is no easy task. We still have open positions. We have not been included in any discussions of what a partial closing would look like, but we know it won't happen without a significant and potentially devastating impact to the local arts economy.
Later in the day, supporters of renovating the Keller said they could do 2 separate pauses of construction that would span 7 months each to still have the big shows come through and use the space. We'll get to them in a bit. The city's also working with a consultant named Greg Phillips, who has expertise in construction and fundraising for performance arts centers across the country. He shared estimated costs for each project.
When you see the $290 million estimate for the Keller Auditorium renovation, that's in addition to the roughly $100 million cost of the 19-plus month closure. Each of the 2 other estimates for new construction, with about 15,000 square feet more than the renovated Keller, that involve building foundations and everything else from scratch, are estimated to cost just over $400 million. And those estimated costs don't include the additional second theaters and much more that you'll hear about from those 2 teams. But we wanted to start by comparing apples to apples. Of course, you're wondering, with all the demands on the city and Metro budgets, how would we ever come up with these hundreds of millions of dollars? Well, in almost every case, in rural, suburban, and urban areas, first someone or some group dreams the dream, and then a larger group gets together to figure out how to fund it. We've developed and built these because history tells us that in every case, the civic, cultural, economic, and social impact on a town or city and region is extraordinary.
Okay, so far we've covered the fact that something does need to be done with the biggest stage in Portland. City leaders at least seem to agree the Keller either needs to be renovated or something needs to be built somewhere else to take its place. If the city goes for renovating the place, some worry it could be a big blow to the folks who work there and to the area businesses while it shuts down. And either way you slice it, this project, whatever happens, is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And that money would come from a variety of places, including you, and including private donations, bonds, and other tax financing options. But let's not get the cart before the horse. We're here to listen to pitches from each group. Then I want you to decide. You're going to tell us at the end who you're voting for. You ready? Here we go with the folks who want to save the Keller and renovate it.
The Keller enjoys an iconic connection to a beloved, beautiful, and world-renowned public fountain. Before even stepping into the auditorium, the fountain unites people of all ages and backgrounds. It literally sets the stage and mood for the performances and events that take place just a few feet away. The connection to the public fountain is priceless and cannot be replicated in any other location. Next slide, please. The Keller enjoys an effective site area of over 7 acres with ample parking, dozens of nearby restaurants and hotel rooms. The Keller has amenities, both public and private, that exist today and would be very expensive to replicate anywhere else in the city. Next slide. Keller has ample parking and easy access to public transportation. It makes no economic or environmental sense for the public to pay to build a new, expensive, carbon-intensive parking garage for an auditorium elsewhere.
All right, that was Scott Andrews, a principal of Melvin Mark Properties, which does a ton of business downtown with management, leasing, purchasing, selling of properties, that sort of thing. He's joined by other business types that do not want the Keller moved. Now, I haven't talked to them, but it does seem pretty logical. If you own the parking garage across the street from the Keller or the big building on the corner, you'd probably want the Keller to stay where it is as well. The supporters envision shutting off Southwest 3rd and creating a plaza between the building and the fountain, as well as expanding and upgrading the inside of the building, of course. They estimate with their 2 pauses of 7 months that it would take about 3 years, and the entire project would cost as much as $286 million. And that does not include the $100 million in lost revenue that the outside consultants say would happen with the plan. Now, supporters believe they could raise $50 to $100 million in private money to help support the project. All right, now on to the pitch from the folks who want a new performing arts center built where the Lloyd Center Mall is right now on Portland's east side. The folks pushing this version, well, it's the company that owns the mall. Here's Tom Kilbane from the Urban Renaissance Group.
The Lloyd Center redevelopment represents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create a new neighborhood in the central city with a diverse and uniquely Portland mix of housing, open space, retail, restaurants, entertainment venues, and workspaces. What you'll see today is a conceptual design that integrates a new performing arts center into our Lloyd Center redevelopment plan. There are 3 compelling reasons why the Lloyd Center site should be considered. Number 1, it would act as a catalyst to jumpstart what could be a 5 million square foot redevelopment project in Portland's central city. Number 2, it would be the first and only one of the P5 venues to be on the east side. And number 3, it would allow for the uninterrupted performances by the current users of Keller Auditorium. When viewed in combination with the exciting visions being created for OMSI and the Lower Albina District, it's clear that the inner east side will play a critical role in determining how our city looks and where people live in the years to come.
All right, part of their pitch is this. There are already several places nearby on the east side that are focused on arts and entertainment and recreation, and Lloyd Center would fit right in there. This is what Lloyd Center footprint looks like today with the shopping at the mall. They're shown in white. There are lots of parking lots around that as well. This is how developers think they could change that. They would reconnect some of the streets that dead end there now and create more green spaces. They argue that the entertainment center would revitalize the entire neighborhood. They imagine a number of possible scenarios. This shows a 1,200 to 1,500 seat center at one side and then a 3,000 seat auditorium on the other, along with mixed use tower there. These are some of the conceptual designs of what it would look like. They said a performing arts center at Lloyd Center could be open in 5 to 6 years. A rough estimate of the cost here, $423 million. Okay, so far we've heard from 2 of the 3, the folks who want to renovate the Keller where it is. They are mainly business folks with an interest in keeping customers coming to their part of downtown. I'm sure there's patrons who love it as well. And we've just heard from the folks who want to build a new version of the Keller over on the east side where the Lloyd Center Mall now stands. It would include wiping out the mall buildings, but there is one more proposal. Let's take a look at the proposal to build a new performing arts center at Portland State University. The PSU proposal would be to build at the south end of their campus near the 405 freeway on a 4-acre site. They would tear down the University Inn, which is standing there right now. Their presentation included this map, which happens to show that their proposed building is just 6 blocks away from the Keller, no doubt trying to blunt arguments that the big stage needs to stay downtown. This is a conceptual view of what the front would look like. And here's a glimpse at the lobby. They say it would be 3 stories high and made from locally sourced mass timber. The school's VP of construction explained the plan.
The 3,000-seat theater is supported by 4 loading bays. Our proposal includes 45% more back-of-house space to support the artists and venue staff than a rebuilt Keller. Full-service restaurant and cafe, of course, on site. Up to 740 parking spaces below grade. 150% more ground floor lobby space than a rebuilt Keller. And the total square footage of just the 3,000-seat venue and the sporting space is about 136,000 square feet, or about 35% more than the Keller plan. This is a huge increase in terms of what the auditorium can make possible for event producers, performers, and the audience. In addition to the larger venue, our proposal also includes a 1,200-seat secondary venue, as well as a 200-seat rehearsal space and theater, which we've heard from the arts community is missing in the current performing arts ecosystem. 2 additional loading bays for a total of 6 on site. 3 large rehearsal spaces with sprung floors and acoustic isolation. A 150-room hotel and 18,000 square feet of conference space to keep the site active and vibrant 7 days a week and create additional economic benefit. Up to 40,000 square feet of office and studio space for an arts organization, which in our many interviews we did hear from folks who are looking for a permanent home to be residency on the site.
Says that creating their performing arts center would only take 6% more carbon than renovating the Keller. Here's another conceptual look at it from above. The buildings are right there in the center, just above the trees. This graph shows that just building the big auditorium would cost about $447 million. The other stages and the hotel and parking would bring the total cost up to about $676 million. If built, they would expect it to be up and running by 2031, roughly 7 years from now. So there you have it. Those are the 3 options for you. What are you going to do? You're going to rebuild the Keller where it stands, or are you going to keep it running for now and then build a new performing arts center at Lloyd Center? Or maybe at Portland State? It's up to you. What do you think? Send us an email or give us a call with your vote and your reasoning. Our email address is thestory@kgw.com, and our voicemail phone number is 503-226-5090. Well, I say it's up to you. The Portland City Council is going to make the final decision. I do look forward to hearing from you, though. We'll have some of your responses tomorrow.